Hey, you playa, when you have a question that you don't really know the answer to, what do? You go online and you look up some tips or advice to get some direction on how to solve it. Yet for some reason, when it comes to looking up dating advice or getting help in that area of your life, it's considered weird or taboo. Why is that? Why are people so ashamed to look up dating advice, and why do they feel like it makes them a failure? Let's explore that a little bit. Back when I was in college, I really wanted to work on the skill set of communicating better with girls, of flirting with them, and asking them out. I felt like it was something that wasn't my strong suit, so I wanted to improve it. At the time, The Game by Neil Strauss had just come out, so this was a super popular book where people were learning a lot of pickup artist skills, how to talk to girls, and more. I was someone that proudly and openly jumped on the scene to learn as much as I could about talking to girls. But when I told one of my friends that, when I told him I was reading this book, he kind of whispered to me, "Shh, don't say that out loud. If people find out that you're learning how to talk to girls, they're gonna think you're a loser." A loser? Why would I be a loser for trying to improve an area of my life that I was struggling in? So when I pressed him on it and asked him why he felt that way, he told me, people don't look up dating advice. You're just supposed to kind of know these things already. And I realized that's a thought process that still carries on today. When I look at some of the comments on my videos, I see that exact same sentiment presented. Whether it's a video on talking to your crush, texting someone, or getting out of the friend zone, I always see random comments that say things like, "I can't believe I'm watching this. Oh my god, I'm so ashamed for watching this. Why am I watching this?" Society has really warped us into thinking that romance is a magical spectacle thing that just happens on its own. But the reality is, real romance, real relationships require work, dedication, time, effort, and understanding. When it comes to picking up life skills, the reality is we all learn from somewhere or someone. We all observe that process in play and then allow that to help shape how we approach it in our own future. And whether that's watching your parents' relationship and seeing how the two of them interact, getting advice from an older sibling who has a boyfriend or girlfriend, or even just watching things online or on TV that really help shape how characters and people get together, what they value, what they don't, where their drama is, and how relationships should play out. These interactions all shape your experience. So if you see someone that just gets it and has it all figured out, chances are they've observed it in some kind. If you're someone that doesn't really have that experience and doesn't really know what to do, you just haven't had that opportunity, which is all the more reason why you should be looking up advice from credible and caring people online. Instead of feeling ashamed because you're watching a video on how to hug or kiss a girl, you should be proud of yourself because you're being proactive. And when you're proactive in learning, you allow yourself to be prepared for any decisions that come your way rather than reactive when you have to figure things out on the spot. And I would say 9 times out of 10, just speaking with someone who's had a similar experience to what you're going to go through eventually is going to allow you to ease that nervousness, that anxiety, and that tension that's building inside of you about the unknown outcome of how things are going to play out. But let's be honest, specifically with dating advice, there is still this stigma that looking up how to flirt with a girl and how to talk to her and how to know what to say can be manipulative and creepy and weird and inauthentic. And while that can be true some of the times, it's not true all of the time. For example, fast forward a few years into me really putting a lot of the things I was learning about dating into practice. I was flirting with more girls, I was putting my confidence on display, I felt more secure whenever I had an interaction with a girl. Now, I had a friend that was in the same boat as me, but he was just totally against the idea of learning a lot of material, learning how to talk to girls, learning openers, learning how to start conversations. He just felt like it was inauthentic. And he felt like whenever I would do those things and interact with girls, I was being inauthentic too. He would shame the heck out of me all the time and tell me I was being fake whenever I interacted with girls. And I would explain to him that yes, I was using pre-scripted openers or routines that I had practiced over and over. And yes, my personality was amped up just a little bit, but most of that was for practice reasons. It was to help me get more comfortable being in that scenario talking to girls. And then as time went on, I would be more and more comfortable just being around girls that I liked, that I can be more of myself. That just didn't fly with him. And so whenever we were around girls, I would take the initiative to try to talk to them because I felt more confident just in practicing it, whereas he kind of hid into the background, didn't really talk to them, didn't really interact because he didn't want to change. And I understand where he was coming from. He didn't want to learn anything new and he didn't want to try anything new. But for me, I was open to the idea of changing, of growing, of learning, of really expanding my skill set. So if you're someone that's like that, if you're someone that's looking up advice online and you want to improve the dating aspect of your life, there's nothing wrong with doing that. This is all practice to help you get more comfortable in that scenario. If you're trying your best and constantly putting yourself out there, but you're only measuring your success by some arbitrary goal that you've set and not by the fact that you're picking yourself up every single time that you fall, I think you're going about this the wrong way. The journey of learning is something to be proud of. Remember, everything is small steps. So whether you're watching a video on how to talk to girls or reaching out to someone to get their personal experience and advice on what they went through and what worked for them, or even just sharing your own story, being open and vulnerable with people around you, those are all things you should be proud of and not ashamed of at all. And perhaps one of the bigger questions that I didn't really get into is, who should you seek advice from? In fact, I'll link up a video over here on the screen where I give more advice on who seems trustworthy, who doesn't, how to kind of suss people out and know who's actually giving you quality advice. Check that video out and I'll catch you next time. As always, love and peace.